Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu. On sign language is Courage Ugeriahi. We're streaming live on Vision TV 247 and on other social media platforms on your screen. First, the headlines. Senegal court jails opposition leader, reinstates Ousmane Sonko on electoral list. Federal government to deploy comprehensive data to address deficiencies in policy making and proffering solutions. And World Health Organization grants pre-qualification status to NAFDAC Central Drug Control Laboratory. Now the news in full. Since the return of democracy in 1999, Nigeria has seen executive legislative relationship in many colors, but President Bola Tinubu believes the current cordiality between the national executive and the legislative arm will fast-track the transformation of the country. The president expressed this hope at a grand reception in honor of the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio.
Why we consider the affairs of this country, the nationhood, and the belief in one country, we put us on the right path. Having you as a partner, having Abbas as a partner, as the speaker, is good enough for me to succeed. Inshallah, we will succeed. Yeah.
The federal government is taking bold steps in deploying comprehensive data to address deficiencies in policymaking and proffering solutions to the growth trajectory of Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance at the 2023 Comptroller General of Customs Annual Conference in Lagos. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Underscoring the need for the integration of complex data to interpret the pattern of transactions and international trade, Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed plans to turn Nigeria into a hub of export and import activities. The benefit of comprehensive data goes beyond determining revenue generation. He said it provides the sharpest lens to connect the dots, even in establishing the security of Nigerian borders.
Our current governance landscape demands a transformative intervention, and the solution is what has brought us here together today. There is no doubt that the chiming of this clock of modernity is inviting us to take action. It is inviting us to adopt evidence-based processes and innovative strategies to align policies with the objectives of this administration, to streamline decision-making, and to resolve conflict arising from misinformation and inconsistent policies within the government.
Expressing delight with efforts by the Nigeria Customs Service to accumulate large amount of data to shape a public service system that upholds data integrity as its core, he noted that the first step is to invest in the training and capacity building to stand with the best minds in the world. The customs boss said the significance of technology in the global customs operation cannot be overemphasized, hence the need to adapt to the global requisitions. Stakeholders advocated a special economic status for Lagos State, giving its contribution to the nation's economy in terms of revenue generation and developmental impact. Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
And more on Senate President's 61st birthday. The colloquium organized to markets turns out to be a platform to push for national rebirth towards meeting the aspirations of Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Lee reports.
The choice of topic of the colloquium, Legislative Agenda for National Development, was not a coincidence. It aligns with the vision of the celebrants, Senator Godswill Akpabio, of providing the wherewithal to citizens to aspire and achieve ambitions.
This government is a corrective government. The centerpiece of our legislative agenda is nothing but people-centered. Ours is to think of the people of Nigeria that gave us this enormous responsibility and such a rare privilege for us to look into their affairs. What brought me to Abuja was transformational leadership. We will transform the laws of Nigeria. We will reform those things that we can reform for Nigeria to work.
But transformation, as alluded to by all the speakers at this event, demands a paradigm shift. That is to say, we not only have to change the way we do things, but also change the laws to have the change that we seek.
We can only achieve the desired progress by thinking out of the box and developing innovative approaches to governance. I have worked closely with Akpabio, and I can attest to his political acumen.
After he was elected to be the Senate President of Nigeria, he was elected to be a member of the Executive Committee of IPU. Our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is in collaboration with the National Assemblies, is determined that to usher in prosperity into our country.
To many, you have assumed the office of President of the Senate at a difficult time. But to a number of others who knows you well, your capacity to navigate difficult terrains is what earned you the popular appellation uncommon.
The guest speaker, Olisa Agbakuba, SAN, outlined ideas that portray the Nigerian can-do spirit with suggestions for legislative, judicial, economic and electoral reforms to meet targets.
For the president to make progress with the president of the Senate, peace must reign. So the first task is, how do we find peace? Will it be by the armed forces? My answer is no. It will be by executive and legislative process to find how we can draw in Ohaneze, Afenifere, Pandef, Arewa, the traditional rulers that are being ignored. I personally believe they have a role in the constitutional process.
The main strategy to drive the goals of government, in this case the 8-point agenda, is to weave legislative intervention around policies for better outcomes. Lami Ali, NTA News.
On the health scene, World Health Organization has officially granted the WHO pre-qualification status to National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC Central Drug Control Laboratory in Yaba, Lagos, signifying a milestone in its dedication to ensuring the safety and quality of pharmaceutical products in Nigeria. Director General of the agency, Professor Mojishola Adeyeye, disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja, and Hamman Jabani was there.
Achieving the pre-qualification status by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, which started in 2010, believed to highlight the renewed effort of the Nigerian government towards safeguarding its health. The World Health Organization pre-qualification status of the Central Drug Control Laboratory in Yaba is a testament to the unwavering commitment of NAFDAC in meeting international standards of excellence in drug quality, control, and regulation, expected to bring benefit to the lab and, most importantly, to the Nigerian people, while ensuring the quality, safety, and efficacy of medicines tested and certified.
It's a globally recognized badge of honor that attests to the CDCL's competence in assuring the quality of pharmaceutical products. It places the lab among an elite group of laboratories worldwide, known for their excellence in drug analysis. This directly translates to improved access to safe and effective medicines for the Nigerian populace.
NAFDAC Governing Council Chairman Dr. Mafutau Bolaji Haya speaks more on the new status of the lab.
The staff, the management and the council are working together, and because of this, we've been able to get this far. This pre-qualification by the World Health Organization is a recognition of the impact of our efforts.
NAFDAC says it looks forward to leveraging this achievement to strengthen its partnership, enhance healthcare access, and contribute to the overall improvement of public health in Nigeria and the West African region. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Russian leader Vladimir Putin has addressed Russian citizens, handing out assurances that peace could exist between Moscow and Kyiv if he achieves the set-out agenda, which includes demilitarization, amongst others. Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
Vladimir Putin has told Russians that peace with Ukraine will only take place when he achieves his objectives. President Putin said he is not against peace with Kyiv, but the interests of Moscow must be fully protected. He is holding his first major news conference since he launched his first full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The Russian leader says the country's economy is strong, considering that it is a time of war, and the topic of discussion quickly moves to Ukraine. He says that there will be peace in Ukraine when Russia achieves the objectives of embarking on the war. The objectives do not change, he says, listing denazification, demilitarization, and its neutral status. These are themes he has highlighted from the start of the war.
There will be peace when we achieve our goals. Now let's get to these goals. They don't change. Let me remind you what we talked then. We must demilitarize Kyiv. Either we come to an agreement about the demilitarization on certain parameters. By the way, during the negotiation on Istanbul, we agree on this. But this agreement were thrown away. We agree on this. However, there are other possibilities, either talking and coming to an agreement or resolving by force. This is what we will aim for.
He says about 486,000 people have so far signed up voluntarily as contract soldiers, as well as 300,000 people called up last year. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Barely 2 months to the general elections in Senegal, a court has ordered that jailed opposition leader Ousmane Sonko be reinstated on the electoral list. The opposition has up to 26th December 2023 to finalize the choice of its flag bearer for the February 2024 elections. Again, Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
A Senegal court has ordered jailed opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to be reinstated on the electoral register, a ruling that could pave the way for him to run in the February presidential election. His lawyer Chiril Keledo said on Thursday. Sonko has faced a flurry of court cases over the last 2 years for charges including libel and rape, which he denied. The cases against him have triggered deadly violence in the West African nation. Sonko, 49 years of age, was cleared of rape in June, but sentenced to a 2-year jail term after a court found him guilty of an offense described in the Penal Code as immoral behavior towards individuals younger than 21. He was arrested in July for insurrection and struck off the electoral roll, a decision that potentially ruled him out of the February vote. Sonko came third in Senegal 2019 presidential election, and he is seen as the main opposition challenger in the race to succeed President Macky Sall. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
The French Development Agency is committing 50 million euros for the development of agriculture in Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliyu reports that the fund will be disbursed through the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and the French Development Agency are jointly funding an agricultural development project in northern Nigeria. The Value Chain Initiative is designed to improve agricultural activities, eradicate hunger and malnutrition in the region.
8 states have been targeted, and it's the 8-year program, hoping for about $114 million. Both the French Development Agency, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, as well as the counterpart funding from the states, the federal government, as well as the beneficiaries.
Here are key players putting a final touch into the implementation document for the takeoff of the project.
I therefore challenge all participants to ensure active participation and contribute your comments to ensure that the design is fully aligned with the wishes and aspirations of our people.
As we go forward, we will strengthen the collaboration with women organizations to ensure that their voice is fully heard and their interest taken properly into account in the program.
The country representative of the French Development Agency said more funding is expected from the French government.
So far we plan 50 million in our budget, but it could be more depending on the number of states that will be involved and the number of value chains that will be targeted.
The project is expected to cover selected states in Northeast and Northwest zones. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The head of Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, has stressed the need for states. We take a break now. When we come back, we continue. Federation Folashade Yemieson has stressed the need for state and non-state actors to properly adopt the information and the communication technology system into their working processes. This was contained in her presentation at the 2023 National Council on Establishments meeting held in Bauchi. Awal Abdullahi reports.
This is the 45th meeting of the National Council on Establishments, which provided a platform for discussion on issues relating to working procedures in the Nigerian civil service, opportunities given by the federal government in agriculture, and other intervention programs are what the head of service of the Federation said are meant to improve the welfare of the Nigerian civil servants.
The federal government has also intensified its investment in the area of value proposition for civil servants through a number of programs. In addition to the new allowance that core civil servants now enjoy, we also have a lot of programs, agripreneurship programs, where after training, civil servants get a loan from the Bank of Agriculture and they can start their own farms immediately instead of waiting until after retirement.
The civil service, as the organ responsible for implementing government policies and programs, has been receiving the attention it deserves since we came first on board as a government in 2019. We have made concerted efforts towards motivating and improving the standard of living of the civil servants for greater productivity and result-oriented service.
Stakeholders were optimistic that the issues deliberated will help in the implementation of the new performance management system. Participants at the meeting are the heads of civil service from the 36 states of the Federation. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
And if you don't get the civil service right, it will be difficult to get the nation right. Hence, a lot of acceleration will take place to address the challenges faced in the service. These were the words of the new chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, Professor Tunji Oloma, on assumption of office. Hamman Jabani reports.
It was a brief ceremony with an impression that serves as a marching order that seeks to change the face of the commission. The chairman, Professor Tunji Olaopa, says they will resist all attempts to degrade the founding mission of the commission and will work to restore the glory and pride of public administration.
I'll spend my time, I think I'll build expertise. We are not here to play any politics, to do power play, so sit with colleagues around this entire bureaucratic space and to say, okay, so please, let's reform the reform, let's get things right. Let's do the bit we have to change the face of this profession.
What does he feel about the circulation of fake appointment letters allegedly coming from the commission?
So what we want to do is perhaps do more at the level of strategic communication. We'll do an assessment of what is reality, then need to join hand with the head of service to really do a proper check on everyone that has been recruited perhaps in the last 10 years and possibly really flush out the fake ones and make a few scapegoats
We want to see a new invigorated Federal Civil Service Commission, and which, in essence, will give all the campaign promises, the goodies of democracy to Nigeria and Nigerians. And I think we have started on a good note. I could see the zeal from the chairman and the new commissioners.
He thanked the president for the opportunity to serve the nation in this capacity. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Let's get to gender development. The resolve of Nigerian women to have a better deal and contribute their quota to national development remains strong and unflinching. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu reaffirmed this at her investiture as the Grand Patron of the National Council for Women Societies in Nigeria, where she also renewed her commitment to bringing fresh impetus to the struggle for gender equality in the country. State House correspondent NTAi reports.
Another crowning moment there for Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu as she formally takes on the role of championing the cause of Nigerian women with her investiture as the Grand Patron of the National Council for Women Societies of Nigeria. Conferring the official title on the First Lady at a ceremony held at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, National President of the Council, Hajia Lamilau, says the decision to award her the honor was an easy one for the council, going by her contributions to gender struggle and women empowerment in the country.
Today, as the First Lady of Nigeria, we anticipate a season of accelerated growth. Our dear First Lady is a model of virtue and consumed with desire to use her position to improve the life of women and family.
Appreciating the council for the honor, the First Lady says the agitation for women empowerment is not just for social justice, but also because empowered women are the catalyst for national development. With her new status, her bold face, caring heart, and strong resolve are all expected to provide fresh impetus to the struggle for gender equality in the country.
I will advocate for initiatives that support women's health, economic empowerment, and work towards eliminating all forms of violence and discrimination against women. We are already collaborating with relevant stakeholders to ensure that the voices of women are heard and their concerns are addressed at all levels of decision making.
And riding on the momentum of the ceremony, the First Lady went straight into a meeting with wives of governors from the 36 states of the Federation. The main agenda is their shared concern on how to achieve total eradication of HIV/AIDS, particularly through prevention of mother-to-child transmission, using education and advocacy.
We can do this and we must do it. As the theme for the 2023 World AIDS Day indicates, let community lead. We will be taking the advocacy to our traditional rulers, religious leaders of various faiths, community leaders, educational institutions, and the nook and crannies of the nation.
Also on the table is the Renewed Hope Initiative Elderly Support Program, which is scheduled to hold across the country on the 21st of December this year. Under the scheme, which is to ensure that the elderly are given pleasant Yuletide season, a sum of 100,000 naira is to be given to 250 aged persons from each state. To facilitate easy disbursement, she says each state will be paid the total sum of 25 million naira, urging them to put aside political differences in support of the scheme. In the State House, NTAi, NTA News.
Various policies of the federal government are aimed at stimulating Nigeria's economy and laying a strong foundation for sustainable prosperity and a better Nigeria. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the public presentation of a book titled This Life No Balance, an anthropology of Nigerian diaspora voices, said the country's leadership at the top is a symbol of hope. Salihu Ganara reports.
The 12th chapter book, This Life No Balance, co-authored by Professors Farouk Berogi, Moses Ochonu, and Dr. Osmond Agbo, is an intellectual contribution from these Nigerians in the diaspora, essentially highlighting and providing global perspectives to specific areas such as education, federal character policy, and corruption.
And it is a must read for those seeking a better understanding and resilient spirit that defines our people.
Moses and I have published books in America. We've always struggled about the contradictions about writing about Nigeria, and it's not read by Nigerians. And so this was a great opportunity. We decided to publish the book in Nigeria.
The minister says hope is already being renewed for all-round development.
We know that Nigerians are going through some discomfort. Mr. President has put in place some measures to cushion that, and longer measures are being put in place for the long run. So please bear with the president. So much is going to happen. The CNG buses have started being rolled out. The conditional cash transfer is already been implemented. The 35,000 wage award as demanded by Labour is also on track.
Participants reaffirmed that Nigeria's challenges require local solutions.
So we need to put our hearts together. It is not about strike. Strike is not the solution to university education in Nigeria. It's not. ASU must think differently. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility.
The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Nigerians from all walks of life graced the event. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
The Bureau of Public Service Reforms, BPSR, has recognized individuals in public service who have supported the course of the civil service, which is the engine of government. Elizabeth Omoriyi reports that Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembas, was rewarded for his unflinching support to the projection of the Bureau and promotion of policies of government, as well as national values through professional reportage and programs. General Manager NTA International Oganya Simon received the award on behalf of the Director General NTA at a forum in Abuja. And that's the end of the news. On behalf of Courage Ogeria, who's been on sign language, this is Nancy Godiangonihu thanking you for watching.